People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, pre-season's done. We played all the teams we played. Obviously, the final game was against Barcelona. We now move forward to Newcastle. Obviously, we've got deadline day in that regard. So, well, we're into the last 4 days of the window for England in terms of incomings. Hopefully, we can bring in a centre-half and whatnot. Again, we can still make outgoings until the end of the month, but in an ideal world, when Newcastle starts, or the game against Newcastle, I wouldn't like Koscielny, preferably Mustafi as well, not involved, and I would like a centre-half brought into the club so that we can put to bed who's staying, who's going, who's committed, who's there, and we can just move forward with a bunch of players that allegedly want to be here, or Emre deems he needs them to try and get us into the top four, and we can just focus on sporting matters, because for Arsenal, for a while now, for a number of years, you don't know the reasons. We've obviously talked about the sporting performance and stuff, but it's not been purely sporting, and it'll never be that. But contracts, bus stops, all sorts of incidences that are taken away from just improving on the football field or just focusing on them sort of matters. Oh, it had to rain when I'm gonna go work. But moving on, people. In Brighton news, Joe Willock. Now, I really want Joe Willock to start against Newcastle. I believe he's at the stage where, I'm not saying he has to play the first 10 games in the league, because, yeah, but I believe he's at the stage where you need to give him some opportunities. I always give the example of 10 games. Get 10 games from him, see where he's at. There'll be games he's great, games he's poor, games he's a bit so-so. Do you get it? He's of that age. He's going to go through tough moments, and he's still not there yet. And I think it's a lesson to football fans, because Joe Willock's on everybody's lips and every Arsenal fan is saluting him and stuff. But do you remember there was Arsenal fans that were calling him crap and vile comments after ironically didn't have the best of games against Newcastle away or the Emirates Cup? Now they're cheering him on after his cameo in the Europa League and whatnot. Football is a fickle sport. Joe Willock has taken a while to kind of show everybody who don't watch youth football consistently what he's about. Me, personally, I've always known he's a technical footballer and a bravado, but I think he's shown a willingness from the minute he's got his first team opportunity to switch on with the defensive arcs, and he's always played with a swagger, but this pre-season I'm seeing with him with a different swagger. He can truly believe that he's part of them in that. I previously think he thought he was part of Arsenal's first team in that, but it was a thing where you're looking at Lacazette like, wow, these are the stars I'm playing on FIFA and that. Now he believes that, alright, cool, you're Lacazette, you're Ozil, you're this and that, but I'm Joe Willock, I'm part of this thing, and I'm like how he's playing with a swagger. I like how he's filling out physically. Like I said, he's on the defensive aspects. I feel he's answered every potential test this pre-season. He's played in the advanced Ramsey sort of role. I personally prefer him in the pivot with Xhaka and whatnot. Not necessarily Xhaka, but just to make a point, I like him in that sort of role. And I think long term that would be it for me. I think he could do the Xhaka thing long term. He's got good passing range. Obviously consistency and stuff, he'd need to keep it. 10 games we don't know what we're going to get from him, but he deserves the opportunity, man. He's responded to everything. There's obviously a lot of tasks still ahead and a lot of hurdles still ahead for the man, because obviously right now there's not really any expectations on Joe Willock. I wouldn't say he's going through the phase where everybody loves him because he's had the tough period, but it will be. Maitland-Niles and him have been through it. Right now he can do no wrong. There's not really any pressure on him. People can understand he's a young player and whatnot, despite the fact they gave him a tough time earlier. Soon there'll be expectation. They'll be expecting consistency. They'll be expecting good games. So right now it's still good. If the pressure's not really on, the pressure will be on when the games are coming thick and fast. Can he show that same consistency on a Monday, on the Tuesday or the Thursday? Can you show it on a Thursday and then a Saturday and then the same thing the next week to get it, people? Obviously there's not 3 games in a week, but I'm sure there's a period of 3 games in 10 days. Can he be at it? He deserves the right, in my opinion, to fight for that opportunity to show if he can or can't do it. I really like him, and I think him and Nelson, Saka as well in particular, they're the young players for me that will be getting the chances. Tyrese, John Jules would be getting opportunities here and there, but they're the 3 for me anyways, especially Saka. We need to take our time with Saka. Joe Willock's responded very well, man, and he played well against Madrid, and I'm sure against Munich, forgive me if I'm wrong. He saved the shot on the line against Barcelona, and he played quite well. He's a confident passer. He knows when to make the right option. The next step is to obviously play with greater consistency. Obviously, at times, even in pre-season, I've seen him play a couple stray passes. So I guess just fine-tuning them sort of things out, showing that your consistency is, or your prestige on a pass, or your standard of passing is the same in the first minute than it is in the 45th, where it's about to be half time and you're tired. These are all things you'd assume, but I really like Joe Willock, man. I think he should start against Newcastle. How practical that is, I'm not too sure, really and truly, because if it was me, Xhaka wouldn't be playing in the team as frequent as he is. I'd use him in the squad, but he's going to be captain allegedly. You have to assume he's first name on the team sheet almost. So it'll probably be Xhaka and Torreira, and he'd probably have to Joe will probably get the 10 role. Something tells me Emre will go with Ozil. Ceballos, I think I saw some comments. I would have went with Ceballos, but apparently, let me try and find the comments. I think Ceballos got a kick by Lenglet, and Emre said, I can't find them people, but Emre more or less said he got a kick by Lenglet and he might not be able to train for the next couple of days. And obviously he's not returned. He's just not too long ago returned from his holiday. So I don't know if it's just a precaution. He sits out the next couple of days and he can still start against Newcastle. I'm not too sure. But assuming that I don't know if he will start, so I'm going to just rule him out. And I know it's actually touch and go with Lacazette's fitness. And I'd like to see Pepe start, but I don't think Pepe is going to start against Newcastle. He didn't go to Barcelona, so I don't think he'll start. Probably have to wait till Burnley for his start. But Mkhitaryan's been woeful this pre-season for me. So Ceballos, he might not be fully fit or he might have a knock. I don't know if he's going to go with Ozil. There's obviously other options. But for me, I'd probably go Torreira, Joe Willock, and I'd go with Guendouzi to be fair with you. But it'll probably be Xhaka, Torreira. So I'd go with Xhaka, Torreira and Willock in that sort of 10 role, or if possible, a 3-man sort of midfield thing. I think Joe Willock's earned the right. And for me, I'd love him to play against Newcastle and get man of the match, because if you remember 2 years ago or not, when he was still developing, he didn't have the best of times against Newcastle, and fans casted him off already. And that's a valuable lesson to fans, not to judge people too early. Don't get me wrong, you can see some players are good already, and you can see some players are poor. But these players will have tough moments. Some players are different. Joe Willock took a bit longer for fans to really see his potential, and now they're all on him. They gave him a tough time. Saka and Nelson, people are starting to hate on Nelson, but everybody loves Saka. He's a golden boy. He can do no wrong. Quite rightly so. He's responded to every challenge given to him since the schoolboy, and I've become aware of him playing a year up and whatnot. But there's going to come a time where we're going to look at Saka and he might not be having the best of games, or he might not be developing to the rate he is, or he might switch off defensively, or he might just have a quiet game. This is what happens with young players. I'm singing Joe Willock's praises in this, but I don't know what I'm going to get with him in 10 games. There's going to be times he makes mistakes. Look at Maitland-Niles. Now, Maitland-Niles needs to start switching on. A gift and a curse is that he's so calm in possession, but whether you're going to be a right back long term or not, you need to switch on. I feel Leno's equally at fault because it's a communicational issue, but Maitland-Niles, the underlying point is he's playing blind passes. At times, I don't feel he's being supported by his teammates to defend, but he switches off a lot. This is going to persist. Maitland-Niles, like Guendouzi, they played enough games to know what they're doing right and wrong, but you have to be able to take this. They are going to frustrate as they still learn. The same goes for Joe Willock. Reece Nelson, his decision-making isn't quite the best. I like Nelson. He'll play substantially for me. I like him, like I saw against Barcelona. Did his work defensively. Offensively, he can break. He can link up well. He can come off the flanks and link up well centrally. His decision-making, when he should pass and maybe have an effort at goal, isn't quite to the level where we want it to be, but he's 19 years of age. It's not going to be there. People need to stand behind these young players. You can't. They are gonna frustrate. They're still developing. Joe Willock is a case of how patience is overstated generally in football, but it's underrated because for the last 18 months or so, he could have went out on loan. He probably should have went out on loan, but he's staying close and developed. Watching him at 23's level last season, he really went up a level because he was battling up everyone, even in the Treacle Trade games, people. I really am impressed with Joe Willock, and I really want him to start, man. He's responded to every test this pre-season. The carrot's been dangled in front of him in that this is an opportunity with question marks over midfielders, with certain midfielders not being eligible because they're participating in tournaments. It was his time to kind of stake a claim for a first-team spot. And Joe Willock, if he was grading everyone, probably Joe Willock, for me, it would be Joe Willock first, Saka second, probably Tyrese third, you know. Shout out to Burton and all them other young G's, but that would be it for me in terms of who's impressed me. So Joe's deserved the chance, man. For me, I believe Joe and Nelson should be involved. I think we should look to get Saka involved, the 20 minutes here, a cup start there and whatnot, because with Pepe and Nelson and potentially Saka and Martinelli, let's give them time. We've got better wide options than we had last season. So I'm fully I'm fully excited about Pepe, and I'm also happy to concede that Nelson and Saka, if they are involved, and possibly Martinelli, there's going to be games they're anonymous. There's going to be games they switch off and whatnot. But I'm prepared to persist with that versus some of the wide options we had last season. But that's just me. On that topic, I'm going to get out of here, and I need to go to the toilet before I leave. So people, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe, and do the rest.